All right, let's do this. In the next few minutes, we're going to lay out the exact plan to build your very first stream of passive income. No fluff, no nonsense, just a simple, step-by-step guide you can literally start today. So let's jump right in. I mean, it's the dream, right? It's this idea that you can have money working for you instead of you constantly having to work for money. You can just picture it, that little notification on your phone. A deposit hits your account, and you don't have to clock in or trade an hour of your life for it.
And that's the whole point. It's money that's being generated while you're sleeping, while you're on vacation, while you're doing anything else you love. It's all about finally separating your time from your income.
But let's be really clear about one thing from the get-go. This is not some get-rich-quick fantasy. We're not talking about magic internet money. This is a real, practical guide for making your money finally start doing the heavy lifting for you. So the very first thing we have to tackle before you even think about investing a single penny is a shift in your mindset. It's about changing how you see yourself, moving from being just a consumer to becoming an owner. You know, most of us spend our lives right here in the active income column. We trade our time for money. If we don't work, we don't get paid. Simple. Passive income flips that script entirely. It's about building a system like an investment portfolio that you build once and it keeps paying you over and over again. So yeah, let's lock this definition in our minds. Passive income is not no work. It's work once, get paid repeatedly. It's the difference between being a cog in the machine and actually building the machine yourself. Okay, let's get into the numbers. And don't worry, I promise the math behind this is way, way simpler than you might think. Anyone can grasp this. So this is it. This is the big question that frames our entire goal today. To get to $100 a month, that's $1,200 a year, just showing up from your investments, how much do you actually need in the pot? The number is roughly $15,000. Now, that's based on a pretty standard 8% average annual return. And I know I can practically hear you thinking, whoa, okay, that's a huge number.
But hold on, don't panic. Seriously, no one expects you to have that just lying around. The goal is not to get there by next Tuesday. The goal is to start the journey right now, today.
So how are we going to tackle this giant number? We're not. We're going to break it down into bite-sized pieces. Forget $100 for a minute. Your first mission is to make just $10 a month. Then you aim for 25. These small wins, they create momentum that becomes unstoppable. So we have the right mindset, we understand the math, now it's time for the good stuff, the action plan. These are the exact steps to get your income stream flowing. It really boils down to these 3 keys. First, you start investing, but you start small and you do it consistently. Second, you take every single penny you earn and you put it right back to work. And third, well, that's for later. Right now, we are laser focused on 1 and 2 because they're the foundation of everything. And this is where it all becomes real. You do not need a fortune to start. You can start with $10 a week. You put that into a simple, broad market ETF. Think of something like VOO or VTI. All that means is you're buying a tiny, tiny piece of hundreds of the biggest companies out there. And when those companies make a profit, they pay a little piece of it out to their owners, which is now you. That's a dividend. And that is real cash in your pocket. Now, here's the absolute most important rule in the entire playbook. What do you do with that first bit of cash you earn? You reinvest it. Every dividend, every cent goes right back in to buy more shares. This is the secret sauce. This is how you start a tiny snowball rolling down a very, very long hill. So let's zoom out and actually look at the journey itself. This isn't something that happens in a week. It's a process. It's about seeing how these tiny, consistent actions build on each other to create something massive over time. Look, at first, it's going to feel painfully slow. Your first dividend might be, 50 cents? But after a year of doing this, that's a few bucks a month. Then you fast forward 5 years, and suddenly the dividends you're earning are big enough to start buying new shares all by themselves. You're not even putting in new money for those. That's compounding. That's the magic. And this is why you have to track your progress. Keep a little note on your phone, a simple spreadsheet, whatever. Watching that number go from $2 to $8 to $20, that is the psychological fuel that will keep you going when it feels slow. Seeing is believing. This quote says it all, really. Think of your investment portfolio like a tiny sapling.
You plant the seed, you water it consistently with those small investments, and then you have to be patient. You have to let time do the heavy lifting for you. Which brings us to the final and honestly, the most important idea here. Reaching that first big goal isn't really about the money at all. It's about what that money proves. That first $100 a month, when you hit this number, it's about so much more than an extra $100. It's the moment something in your brain clicks over permanently because you now have cold, hard proof that this system actually works. Because that $100 isn't the finish line. It's the starting gun. It's your proof of concept. It's the moment you know, without a doubt, that you can build a system that generates money while you sleep. You've officially crossed over from just being a consumer to being an owner. So once you have that proof, that undeniable evidence that you can do this, the only question left is, what are you going to build next? How big do you want to grow it? That first $100, well, that's the key that unlocks the door to everything else.